As within any TTRPG, players in Sword World 2.5 often make mistakes that can hinder their gameplay experience. In this guide, we'll take a look at 10 common mistakes that players make in Sword World 2.5 and explore how to avoid them. Whether you're a seasoned veteran or a newcomer to the game, these tips will help you become a better player and get the most out of your Sword World 2.5 experience. The first mistake is not understanding classes properly. One of the most common mistakes that new players make in Sword World 2.5 is not fully understanding what a class is. Classes in this system are skill sets that a character can gain, and multiclassing is essential for a well-rounded character. As a fighter gains levels, they learn how to effectively fight with melee weapons while wearing armor. Similarly, as a scout gains levels, they gain skills in hiding, lockpicking, and acting first in combat. Classes are highly specialized and are not meant to be used alone. For example, fighters are not very useful outside of combat, while scouts struggle to contribute once the initiative has been rolled. Therefore, picking up multiple classes to round out your character's skill set is essential. This leads to the second common mistake, namely the fact that warrior-type classes do not combine well. Restrictions of warrior-type classes stack on top of each other, and their benefits are not shared. For example, if you have both Fencer and Fighter classes, in order to use both classes and not just Fighter, you will need armor and a weapon you can wield with half of your strength score. On the other hand, if you use a weapon that complies with the Fencer restrictions, you cannot attack with the other warrior-type classes and receive the Fencer benefits of lowered critical threshold. In short, you cannot have it both ways. Therefore, you might as well save yourself the EXP and choose one class to play. Speaking of warrior-type classes, common mistake number 3 is to assume that the Marksman class alone is enough to shoot guns. In the world of Raxia, gunpowder technology has not been invented. Instead, magitech is used to imbue bullets with magical power and fire them. Therefore, both Artificer and Marksman classes are required to shoot guns, Artificer to enchant the bullets, Marksman to shoot them. The fourth mistake has to do with active combat feats. If you have multiple attacks, active combat feats only affect one attack, unless stated otherwise. Therefore, even with the grappler's ability to do 2 or 3 attacks, only one of those can profit from feats like Armor Piercer or Mana Strike. The fifth mistake has to do with spellcasting. Damaging spells usually list 2 values, a power value and magic power. You can think of magic power as the magic equivalent of extra damage, so you don't add it to the power value of the spell. The sixth mistake is more of a misunderstanding. Sword World 2.5 does not have social skills like persuasion or intimidation. This may be a bit unusual to Western players. Instead, players should rely purely on role-playing for social interactions. However, there is the supporting system of adventure ranks that can assist characters in becoming more prominent. The opinions of those in power and common people will matter, especially to characters with higher adventure ranks. If you absolutely must have social skill roles in the game, the investigation skill introduced in the core rulebook 2 can be used for this. The seventh mistake concerns how the prone state works. Certain abilities, such as the grappler's throw and certain other skills, can knock opponents prone, but the rules for this state can be difficult to locate. The rule governing the prone state can be found in the core rulebook 1 on page 97. Once a character falls prone, they suffer a -2 penalty on all action checks until the end of the turn in which they get up. Getting up can be done with a minor action. The eighth common mistake is thinking that there is a penalty for using ranged weapons in melee combat. The only restriction on ranged weapons comes when firing into a skirmish or through it. In the first case, you will need the targeting combat feat to avoid misfiring, and in the second, the Hawkeye combat feat to be able to shoot through. While in a skirmish, you can target anyone inside without any issue. The ninth common mistake concerns magic weapons and damage types. Magic weapons are a common sight for higher-level players, but even lower-level players may get access to them by temporarily enchanting weapons with spells such as the Spiritualism magic spell Fire Weapon. Those spells turn weapons into magic weapons for a short time, as well as add a damage bonus. However, this does not allow those weapons to ignore armor the same way spells would. It only changes their attribute, so to speak, so it only really applies to resistances and weaknesses enemies might have. Naturally, the same also goes for regular magic weapons. Needless to say, the damage bonus you may get from using these enchanted weapons is nice to have, regardless. For our 10th common mistake, we have straight rolls. You normally add your relevant class level and ability score modifier to your dice result whenever you need to roll a check. If you don't have the relevant skill, you can still roll the check, of course. In this case, you would only roll 2d6 without any added bonus from ability score modifiers. A common mistake among beginners is forgetting this fact and adding your modifiers regardless. This counts for monster knowledge checks and initiative as well. Since both these checks are, in essence, team-based, it is advisable for someone in your group to pick up Sage and Scout. Feel free to check our subreddit or Discord server for more info about the system and our translation. Links are in the description below. Thanks for watching. The Sword World Translation Project is a fan-based, non-profit translation. Sword World is owned by Group SNE and Kadokawa. Please support the official release. All the Sword World books in Japanese can be found on Bookwalker, links in the description below.